Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing today? This is Sonia with the Knowledge Power Hour. We're all the way in Hawaii today. I'm sorry I didn't be able to do the live earlier this week on Wednesdays like we usually do, but I was busy. You know, when you're on vacation, you're busy, so it doesn't matter. But I'm here with my brother today, and I think this is going to be a great treat for y'all. I'm just talking with him. We just chatting it up so he can give the deets on what he think about life purpose and what he think about how finances blends into that. Hey, or how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Oh, okay. So, what was it that what do you think about people in their life purpose and how their journey goes?
I think it could be what. First of all, I think everybody has a different life purpose. I think everybody should be able to actually share that life purpose once they find out, what I would like to do. And most of all is you got to understand it's a journey in itself, and that may be your life purpose to just experience a journey to the best of your ability. So it just all depends on those little pieces that you can kind of take out of life and put them in for the things that you would like to like leave behind generationally, like but down your lineage and pass off things to your family.
Okay. And I think it's kind of hard sometimes, even especially for my generation, when it comes to their life purpose. It's usually that even with the generation before us, that
Hmm.
sometimes we end up finding our purpose later on in life because we're so busy.
Hmm.
For the younger people, what do you think would work for them as far as trying to find it faster?
I would say that just starting off with that. Well, first of all, I would say like I think my life purpose is to make whoever I bring into the world be able to go further than myself.
Yeah.
And then for the younger generation, I would say uh, you're not going to know everything at once. I
Mhm.
would say that the cliches that people talk about, a small circles or whatever, I would say expand your circles. You should have your the people that you can trust your life with. But when it comes to like a experiencing your journey through life,
Mhm.
you would try to get as large of a circle as possible. People that talk in finance, they kind of talk about networks. So you
Mhm.
have networks of people that you can come to and kind of talk about one specific thing or another specific thing. There's a saying that's saying like, hey, if we exchange a dollar, you have a dollar and I still have a dollar. But we exchange ideas, you have two ideas and I have two ideas also.
Mhm.
So kind of go through that practice of like meeting people that don't look like you, from different places that have different experiences, and I think you'll do well.
I think that's a big thing. I think with the generation, some of the generation I'm in, that sometimes they think being close knit is the way to go sometimes.
Mhm.
And it just depends on what aspect. For me, I have a close knit circle.
Mhm.
And I'm constantly pulling in, pulling out, pulling in, pulling out
Mhm.
in order to make sure it's a balance for
Yeah.
me. But as far as meeting people, like here being in Hawaii, I have had some great
Yeah.
conversation with people I didn't even know. And whereas other people that I was with, they like, why are you talking to them? Or they're giving these weird looks, but why not?
Mhm.
I think conversation is everything. I've learned like different places that we can go and
Mhm.
do things the
Yeah.
next time I come back. And so I'm writing things down. So because if you don't know and somebody else know,
Yeah.
why not? I always tell myself every morning when I get up, I have a millionaire mindset, but I have a billionaire bank account.
Yeah.
That's the goal because we all sit on, and I try to get people to understand we all sit on in our purposes and stuff with the ideas and stuff. But the one thing I try not to do is gatekeep. What do you
Mhm.
think about that when people gatekeep information? I know you don't because you tell us everything,
Yeah.
but there are people literally out here that gatekeep information and don't even understand how rich
Mhm.
the graveyards are.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
So I think with the gatekeeping thing that like everybody should like allow like that knowledge just to flow. It's like with the same thing with money. People hold ideas or whatever. That piece of information that you could provide somebody else may be the thing that put them over their threshold, and they could possibly do the same thing for you. So that just the fact of like sharing information is a great tool to like learn
Mhm.
understanding things that you don't understand, and being able to like just use people in a positive way where like you're everybody's growing
Mhm.
and you're not stunning growth of anybody. So being able to do that and it just helps out a lot. With the ones that do gatekeep, they got to understand that like they're stunning their own growth also.
Mhm.
So if somebody finds out that you're not a person that provides help or maybe knowledgeable, they'll look right past you. And especially when when you start to being the one to try to be the one that's actually on the asking end of the information or
Mhm.
whatever. But some people they don't help other people out unless they're like willing to help people also. So I would say that would be just something just to understand that like in the long term is something that's not going to benefit you in just like in the long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I really do. Because in this day and time, a lot of people stray away and they're not understanding that in order to get somewhere, you got to build. You
Hmm.
got to be able to build and be, as you would say, diversified,
Yeah.
not just mentally, but physically
Yeah.
and financially.
Yeah.
And so, with saying that financially, what is your take about combining the two?
Just say that again.
What is your take on combining the two when you're once you find your purpose?
Yeah.
How do you diversify and financially combine the two?
So I think with that, once you kind of find your purpose, the things that financially come with that,
Mm-hmm.
it comes a whole lot easier. So like I would say like I don't know how to put it, but like it's one of those things that you have to be able to do. It's a fact in the world that you can't live without money or live financially.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're enjoying something and you say, hey, this is my purpose and how I'm gonna do these specific things or items on a daily basis, go on ahead and enjoy it and make money off of it. And that way it kind of multiplies a what you will actually do, and it also brings in more money as you go along with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, with that being said, how do you get your children to find their purpose early and to diversify?
Mhm. So with them, it's a
I
little
know
bit
it's a
different.
different. I
Yeah.
know.
So with the kids, it's a direct approach. It's about talking to them every day, just understanding what their interests are, what they like,
Hmm.
and then just feeding and supporting any type of idea, of whatever, and not limited them to a this is I wasn't able to do this, so that
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you can't. That means that you can't do it. Never
Hmm.
limit them to like what they think they can do, because like the kids these days, they're much smarter. They're growing up way faster than we were, and
Hmm.
they have whole lot more access to information than we ever did.
Correct.
So with that, especially how everything is right now, they need that like positivity to like be able to do that. And as you see, at this point in time, you see the largest group of entrepreneurs, kids that are finding their life purpose, making money out of it, and combining the two, and
Hmm.
actually doing like what they like.
Hmm.
It's kind of like like years ago, let's say about a few years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, uh, people get made fun of like playing video games,
Yeah.
and then they start streaming online, and people start making millions and millions of dollars
And
just based off
competing.
and competing. And
Hmm.
so now that whole thing just based off a kid's idea has grown into a niche market where like it's called like e-gaming.
Hmm.
So somebody took that specific passion, found their purpose, monetized it,
Hmm.
and now it's like something that's like you can't deny. It's all over the world. Everybody's doing it.
Hmm.
So I would say with them, let them try the things. So like things change, things evolutionize like as we go forward. So never try to stunt like somebody's like growth based off of, well, it happened this way when I was your age.
Hmm.
Totally different time, totally different access of information, and money is much easier to like get in this day and age.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes even with the older generation, and when I say older generation, I'm talking about me because I'm 52, and I feel like, and some people put that class of this is the older generation. The baby boomers are also, that's another class. But I feel like that we stunt our growth. A lot of us stunt our
Mhm.
growth because they're not willing to take risks.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about the different chakras, and right now my thing is, with the root chakra that set the foundation. I keep telling people, in the African culture that talks about root chakra, I mean the chakras and stuff, in the root is fear. When you set in the foundation and you fear, you can't step out.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And and because of the religion and everything, they don't even know how stagnated they are. And and I need another way. I'm just asking. I feel like I need another way to try to reach out in order for them to understand it, because there's so many people that ask me, or say to me, I wish I could do what you're doing, or I wish that I can build my business the way I want to get out here and do and stuff. But I think it's a lot of self-doubt, self-talk, which comes with other chakra parts that's, to the level. But like I told him, if you don't cleanse those blockage, you can't get nowhere. The root is fear. The sacra is guilt. And then in the solar plex, it's shame. And when you're going on up, and I just stopped there today with that part, because I want people to understand that if you don't start with you, where you think you're going?
Yeah.
Where do
I would say, like, first, just understand yourself. The biggest thing, we all know a little bit of what our strengths are, but you'll be surprised what you're actually able to do if you can step beyond saying, "Hey, I'm scared to do this or scared to do that," and just move out on what you're trying to do. You can look at, like, in any type of situation, uh, uh, as soon as you start doing things and getting practice at it, everybody has to start off as a novice, a novice.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody has to start off as a beginner in anything. It doesn't matter. And everybody that you see that's doing well, or like at the highest of their profession, all of them, no matter who it is, started off at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Started at the very beginner level. So
Mhm.
that's one thing people have to get over. Like, don't worry about what people are going to talk about, what they're going to say behind your back, because the ones that are, like, actually cheering for you right now are the same ones that kind of doubted you before. And it's not like that's just how people's nature is right now. So you got to just move out and do it, and just say, hey, if you mess up, you learn from it.
Mhm.
And the more you learn, the better you get at it. It's kind of like shooting a basketball, or even bowling, or whatever you like. The more you get, the more you do it, the actual better you become at it. And then once people start, like, you're real good, and then that's when you start seeing people trying to support your vision and everything. But you have to do it on your own first. Scripture says, faith without works are dead. So
Mhm.
that means, as much as I believe that I'm going to stand up from this chair or whatever, until I make my mind up to do it, I won't never move.
Correct.
So you could believe all you want to. It's a two-part action. You have to have both of those components. And so I would say, don't worry about what people are going to say. People are going to talk about you anyway. So just
Mhm.
do what you need to do with a smile, and
Right.
and just going about with it. Because after a while, they'll be like, "Oh, this person's for real," and then all of a sudden they'll see that you're serious, and then that's how you turn, like, what people call their haters on their side, on your side, to be able to, like, get those things that you want to accomplish done.
Mhm.
So I think that's the way you look at it. I mean, the fear is, that's like something that's naturally going to happen. But, like, I don't think anybody that tried to accomplish anything never had any type of fear. So it's just a natural instinct that you have to overcome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With me, I had to think about it, because it took me so long to get to this place where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was because I'm always overthinking stuff
Mhm.
and I'm always planning, and I won't move until I get a certain component the way it was. But then after I started studying with the
Mhm.
chakras and stuff, in actuality, it was nothing but fear.
Mhm.
It was fear to go to the next thing. And it wasn't me trying to be a perfectionist. Which I always do. I'm very critical of me.
Mhm.
It ends up being the fact that I was too afraid to step on out further because
Mhm.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Doing this, I didn't know what the
Mhm.
next steps were. No matter how many people I watched, no matter how much I studied, I never knew for me
So
what the next step was. And I
mhm.
think a lot of people get complacent
Yeah.
in that space.
So kind of think about it, like if you're, like, just walking down the street, you can only see so far.
Mm-hmm.
And every step that you take while you're walking down the street, you can see just a little bit farther,
Mm-hmm.
further. So that tells you at that point in time, a only thing you need to do is just keep taking steps towards your goal, and eventually you'll get to your destination. You understand it, but like while you're doing it, just don't say, "Hey, I see what's going on," but actually observe everything going around you,
Mm-hmm.
so you can assess that and actually enjoy it also.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that takes a lot of fear away is like as you're scared of stepping, and as you step, you're enjoying the view and the experience that you're actually
Mm-hmm.
having and sharing it with other people.
Right.
So automatically that fear turns into like like how can I say it, like something that you like enjoy. So
Mm-hmm.
you automatically flip the script on like a it's no longer fear. It's like, hey, I know I'm going to take this step. I don't know what this step is going to bring, but I know that I know it's going to bring something
Mm-hmm.
exciting. And then if it doesn't bring something exciting, you
You
learn
learn
on it.
from it.
You
Mm-hmm.
learn from it, and
Mm-hmm.
but you still get to be able to have that experience. And you kind of talk about when you get to the end of your life and you're like, hey, I could have did this, I could have did that, and that's where all those missteps that you wouldn't take come from.
Yep. Yep. I
And
get that.
yeah, so you knew you had it in you,
Mm-hmm.
but you never did it, and
Yeah.
that's what that
Yeah.
regret comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
I
I
get that.
yeah.
Because I had a spiritual mother that was that way when in her final days. She was begging. I sat there and I watched her, and she was begging God for more time.
Hmm.
And I tell people on the show all the time, I want them to go out and just do. I don't care if you're 92 or 22, get out and just do it.
Hmm.
And that was a big impact on me
Yeah.
to hear her asking God for more time because she gave her life to everybody.
Hmm.
She gave it to the church, she gave it to her children, she
Yeah.
gave it to her work, but she never made the time out for herself and what she desired to do.
Hmm.
And then she wanted to get it done, but then this battle with cancer ended up winning.
Yeah.
But still, in a sense, she still won because she changed lives
Hmm.
in the moments that where she when she was transitioning.
Yeah.
And I tell people, don't say I'm too old to do nothing.
Hmm.
I know people who are 82 that's graduating in May
Yeah.
from college, because they always wanted, they don't raise their children and did everything. And now this is the time for them.
Yeah.
They don't raise grandkids. And they said, I want my degree.
Exactly.
Like I got my degree. It wasn't even about the having a degree for work or anything. It was like I was disconnected
Hmm.
and I wanted it because I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
And so I finished it.
Yeah.
And I don't think with self accomplishment, I don't think it's anything wrong with that.
Mm.
It was a $58,000 bill, but
Yeah.
it was something I accomplished.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some people don't see things like that. Even
Hmm.
though I took a lot of management classes and with the healthcare, it still works because it helps me with this.
Yeah.
And you just have to find that purpose to flip the script.
Yeah.
Now, let's go into your talent. Your let's get into your talent.
Hmm.
Because I think this is your niche. I think
Hmm.
this is your purpose. I think that that when it comes to finance, because I appreciate the fact when I do come to you that you're very, very patient with me.
Hmm.
But I think that a lot of people don't understand, especially being black, how important it is to be financially stable,
Hmm.
not just for yourself, but teaching your children how to be financially stable. I see a lot of people now running to get life insurances to start the living trust and
Hmm.
everything and making themselves themselves the bank.
Hmm.
What is your thoughts on that?
I think that's very important. So, like everything you have to do is you have to set yourself up, and like based off of being literally like hundreds of years behind other races on like being financially stable,
Hmm.
whether they can pass down assets on your kids, you have to start somewhere. So you have to know, hey, you got a certain lifespan that you're going to be able to live, 80, 70, 90 years old if you're blessed. So within that time period, you're talking about you get grown, you probably have like 10 years where you like, hey, I'm just living my life as the 20s. And when you're in your 20s and 30s, you start like realizing, hey, I need to do this. So in reality, you have like maybe 40 years to kind of set your family up just as well as somebody that's already had like 3, 4 generations of,
Hmm.
of like prep time. So like number one, the life insurance is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So like just being able to set something behind like when with your family. So if you pass, they don't have to go through the financial hardships and get set back
Mm-hmm.
based off of the expenses that you were covering. When you pass, they'll be able to continue on, and that also deals with like funding education, schooling, any type of medical bill, and so forth. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with like the medical insurance. If you're able to set aside bills for other things, set aside your money for those type of investment vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
and don't get caught up with saying, well, those are like, hey, they're scams or whatever. Those things been set in place to be able to transfer wealth. A lot of times tax free,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to pay any tax on them, and it sets your family up in the best possible way to like continue on, not just doing that same thing for like the next generation, but finding the next like important thing to like invest in. Maybe, hey, the first thing is like in life insurance. I know I'm not going to be able to buy all my kids' houses or whatever based off my income. But if I pass, just life insurance will be able to take care of that for them, so they have a place to stay. It's getting very hard now based off of how the housing prices has risen, and then also with the interest rates, it's going to get to the point where people are just going to be satisfied with just renting because based off the price, you're basically paying like for say if you buy like a $400,000 house, you're paying the same right now for a $400,000 house that you did like maybe 2 3 years ago as buying like a $200,000 house right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then with inflation, your purchasing power actually lowers. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to set your family up for that and having them at a good position where they can carry on the next thing is like, okay, I set them up with the money based off the life insurance. Um, and having a plan say, hey, if I pass, pay off the assets we have right now. So now you
Mm-hmm.
have assets that can produce income.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing you do, hey, let's go buy some more income generating assets. So now you done did in 2 generations, even though you're not there, they're now setting up your grandkids
Mm-hmm.
and their grandkids' kids.
Mm-hmm.
So just being able to continue with that on, it's just like you get lucky, you'll be able to accomplish about half of that right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you leave it up. And that's why financial education, like you kind of talked about earlier, is very important for the kids. Even like setting them up with credit cards, not letting them use it, but just letting them have that credit build up
Yeah.
as soon as they turn 15 or 16, based off of whatever credit card you're using to get those for them.
Mm-hmm.
Also setting them up with accounts. I tell you one thing that everybody should do when they have kids. It doesn't matter how much you do, but just get it started and set up. So like once your kids are born, or you have a kid that's born, or even like if you practice and you have grandkids, once they're born, set up a trust.
Mm-hmm.
With that trust, just put $50 a month in that trust. Over the time of the between that time and the time that you decide to give that gift, you'll be surprised how substantial that how much they have. So when they graduate high school, or when they graduate college, or when they decide to get married, you can pass it. It'll be in their name at once they turn 18 years old. But you can teach them enough. Be like, hey, you're getting this email about this trust or whatever, these letters about this trust, but like I'm not going to really pass it off until you do this
And have
and
responsibility.
have responsibilities. So when they start off, they're not automatically getting in debt with
Mm-hmm.
like trying to build a down payment for a house, or trying to like if they're entrepreneurial, trying to start a business or whatever based off of whatever skills they have
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they have, that nest egg that's been given to them, where you just taking $50, and as you get increased, you give your kids a raise or whatever. It may take back some of the allowance that you give them or some of the things that you buy for them, but you putting it in a vehicle that's gaining money over a course of like 20 years. So you're talking about giving, like based off of 50 or $100 a month, something like 20 30,000 dollars, about time they get ready to move out in life, so they'll be able to like do those things that like
Mm-hmm.
other families are able, other kids and and things that they're able to do based off what their family did for them.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. I think that that's a good start. I think people should work on that. I said I was gonna do it when my son decided to have me some grandkids, which I told
Mhm.
him not too soon.
Yeah.
But when he do, like I tell him all the time, I said you got to be able to afford you. Then after you learn how to afford you, then you can afford a wife.
Exactly.
And then once you afford a wife, then y'all work on affording children.
Mhm.
Because I need you set up.
Mhm.
I'm a stickler with education and
Yeah.
everything, and he knows it.
Yeah.
You know, so I told him, I said, I'm going to be here to help you as long as you allow me to,
Yeah.
because what I wasn't able to do for you,
Mhm.
the way I wanted to do, I will be able to do for my grandkids,
Exactly.
because I'm going to set you up as best as I can right
Mhm.
now, because this is my now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure the grandkids are set.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay, but we still got a journey to go because
Mhm.
he's only 22,
Yeah.
but still we're in a good path of the route that we're
Yeah.
going.
It's just to deal with just always starting. It's
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
starting and then getting a routine and a habit. No matter how
Mhm.
hard, be like, man, I want to use this $50. Hey, Beyonce's coming to town, and I just need to
Mhm.
find $50 somewhere else. Get the seats that's a little bit higher into the stands and put that
Mhm.
$50 into your kid's account
Yeah.
or whatever. It's that $50 within like 5 years would be just enough to actually pay for that ticket down the line if you decide to do so
Mhm.
with based off of what you want to do. So like I can't like express enough of like just being able to like educate them,
Mhm.
and you can't overbear them because like that stuff for kids is like boring
Yeah.
or whatever. I have
Mhm.
a 11-year-old. She likes it because she likes to see she plays some game or whatever. Like she like to see her making herself money, and everything. And like the other one, she likes to like just get the money. She'll save it a little bit. Then, hey, kids, they're gonna want to spend money or
Mhm.
whatever. So, but
We know.
so them being able to hold on to money is kind of hard. But if you set up them an account and just show them, and now is like probably the best time to kind of start the markets down.
Mhm.
Everybody expecting the market to go up within the next year or two, so they can actually see, hey, this is how money works. You put it in there and like and just watch it grow
Mhm.
and just show it's ebbs and flows based off of what's going on, and so they can understand based off of understanding stocks. They actually get a better understanding of like
Mhm.
what happens in the world.
Mhm.
And like for the most part, kids are the best investors that you can find because they're always in the know.
Yeah.
They know what the trends are,
Mhm.
and they know what's the next thing that's going to be popular. So I use that as like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what you think about this? What you think about that? And they haven't been wrong on like hardly anything when it comes to like, a this I like Dave and Buster's better than Disney.
Mhm.
A get Dave and Buster stock. A Disney, it costs too much or whatever. You don't want to spend any money at Disney, but you'll spend more money at Dave and Buster's type of thing.
Mhm.
Or like a why what about Nike? Well, I like Nike, it's okay, but I like the Skechers, or I like On Cloud is another one or whatever. They tell you what everybody else is doing because they're like the parents spend the most money on their kids
Yeah.
based off of what the kids like.
Mhm.
So that's where all the money is going to
Mhm.
right now. So if you could take it in that perspective, um, they can help themselves, and they'll be the reason why like their income, not their income, but their investment has grown so much through the year because like they can actually provide you because they're on TikTok, they're receiving all the ads. If I could like, if there was a Shin stock right now, I would like buy
I
Shin
would so buy it.
because
I so buy it.
that's all she
She
talk
is
about.
Timu.
Timu, yeah. So
I
like,
just I became an affiliate with Timu. They
mhm,
send me free stuff, and
yeah,
and I'm like, keep working with me. Keep
yeah.
working with
So
me.
anything those kids like into and they talk about or whatever, like I would say like invest it and then watch them and then show them, hey, this is what you want to spend with Timu this month or
Mhm.
whatever. Don't have to be Timu. I don't think Timu has a stock,
Mm-mm,
but
not
like,
yet.
hey, I want to buy. I use Nike as an example. You want to spend money on these shoes or whatever, and
Mhm.
then over the hey, it's this instead of paying $150 or $140 for these new Jordans, then like 2 years later of doing that every time you want to do it, you can buy like maybe like you know 300 pairs or whatever based off of like the price of it going up.
Yeah.
So if they're able to see it in that aspect of saying, hey, I had a pair of Jordans that I never really want to wear until I want to like show off on somebody, when they're
Mm-hmm.
on my shoe game or whatever and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
So they still do
They,
that.
they
Kids
they
still.
do it, or they don't want to get those creases in their shoes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I see these kids, they walk around with like sandals and not sandals, what they call it,
Them
flip flops or
or
whatever,
those what they call them?
Crocs or whatever.
Crocs. Yeah, Crocs.
Another thing, they wear they you start seeing kids wearing a whole lot of Crocs or whatever, back Crocs, but like they do that versus like putting a crease in their sneaker or whatever. So like if there's a resale market for those things, maybe okay, instead of buying the stock, hey, if you're gonna buy this pair of Jordans or this actual shoe,
Mm-hmm.
just hold it, make sure you don't make it crinkle or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they can actually start like acting like a business where like, hey, I bought these shoes for 140, $150, 10
And
years, I
flip
mean
them.
like 5 years down the line. Hey, I can sell these jokers for like $1,000, 1,200 just based
Mm-hmm.
off of the value that they're now out. So
Mm-hmm.
like they got to think in that type of aspect versus a wearing them, they're wearing them every day. Within about probably about a couple of years they can't
Mm-hmm.
use it anymore or
Right.
whatever. So like even if it's not like stocks. I had a conversation with a gentleman, and I was like, "Well, nobody's going to buy shoes." This was back in 2017. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
like reselling these shoes and everything. And he knew about a whole like $1 billion industry that I haven't even like looked at of people like buying shoes and
Mm-hmm.
then going and reselling them.
There's
So,
a place downtown in
mhm,
Atlanta, and I didn't know that's what they did.
mhm,
I was happened to, and I would happen to. I was sitting out there waiting to get into
yeah,
this restaurant, and I was looking, and I was like, let me Google them.
yeah,
And so, because all I saw was clothes, but on this wall, it was just nothing but shoes.
yeah.
And I'm like, what do they do? And this guy had a pair of Jordans that was a 2001 for $15,000. And I
It's
was like,
probably the
what?
Jordan Dior. It just matters what type of
Yeah,
shoes.
but
Yeah,
he had some shoes in there.
hmm,
None of his shoes was under $1,000, I don't
yeah,
think, from what all I was scanning.
hmm,
And I was like, for real?
hmm,
And then he had classic like jerseys and different
yeah,
things. There was a lot of them. I said, I never thought that, people did that
yeah. So
until I saw that.
they got the idea from kids. That's where all that stuff come from.
And
They
people were
kids.
going in there because I
Yeah.
kept like, why are they going in there?
Hmm.
It didn't look like much, but
Yeah.
then I realized after I got on the site, I was like, wow.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
That's what's so like that's like probably if they're able to do stuff and like them with like they didn't capitalize it now, but what kids getting where they're able to resell shoes or whatever and making it into like $1 billion market. Just think about a person not being able to like not actually stunning their kids' growth
Hmm.
or saying, hey, you can't do that. That wasn't available or that would never happen when I was that young. You just can't say that nowadays.
Hmm.
So, but when you're talking financial education on your kids, you got to actually show them proof and showing them how it works versus saying, hey, look at this stock price today or stock price tomorrow. Invest a little bit. It don't have to be like $100, $50 or whatever,
Hmm.
based off of how you open up the account. But
Hmm.
then just show them how it works. And then they'd be like, hey, I wonder what made that price go up or what made that price go down or whatever. So now they're understanding not just how the stock market works, they're understanding how the world works in general and
Hmm.
how the world reacts on news once they understand, okay, this is happening or whatever. So like based off of that, and they learn way quicker than we do. So like they'll understand it and catch it just like that.
Right.
So it'll be like one of those things. They'll catch it and they'll just, okay, Dad, I got this. You don't have to, or
Hmm.
Mom, hey, I got this. You don't even have to worry about like, hey, what are you doing right now? Instead of buying this. Well, Mom, I didn't buy any Starbucks today. I just wanted to put some money in Starbucks. So I use like M1 where you can like use a dollar amount versus buying the whole stock or
Hmm.
to invest in, or where I wanted to put the money in this versus like they just spending some money on some Starbucks or
Hmm.
whatever. So now they're taking their money and they're investing it, and then like, hey, if it goes up $100 or whatever, then they're like, okay, I did 100, I got another 100. Let me take that 100 out. So now I still got another 100 that's still working money for me.
Hmm.
So if they start thinking like that versus just spending money all the time and not seeing any return in it itself for instant gratification,
Hmm.
uh, I think they're like anybody's kid, it'll pay off in the long run.
Hmm. So what is your thoughts on instant gratification? I wouldn't even let you
Uh,
roll by that
yeah.
because I think that I know a lot of people my age
Hmm.
or older that is always looking for these instant gratification, whether it is instead of working hard to change their lives for healthy eating, exercising, and everything, they're always looking for this magical pill, or they're always looking for something that's instant instead of. What do you think about instant gratification?
Well, on the part with like enjoying yourself, especially when you work for it or whatever. I've been taught, especially by my wife or whatever. Like sometimes you just got to you worked hard for it and enjoy it and everything. It may make but it's all about the journey. You don't want to like get to your end of your life and be like, well, man,
Right.
I wish I would have spent this money on this, or like saying, dang, I wish I would have had at least 5 more cakes I could have ate, or pieces of cake I could have ate, pieces of cake or whatever. You'd be surprised what probably go through people
People
mind or
mind.
whatever.
Okay.
And everything. It's almost like a when people talk about a prisoner or whatever, hey, what's your last meal? And they be like, dang, and they come up with the craziest thing because that's what they've been like craving, but
Wanting.
never had the chance to get it or whatever. But like for the most part for adults, like the easy pill, like if it's it, I would say like if people are willing to do certain things, they have to be able to work for it. There's nothing. I'm not gonna say everything is supposed to be hard, but there's some type of effort that you're gonna have to put into it to, and then the effort when you put the effort into it, you feel a whole lot better about what you receive from it or whatever. No matter how slow it is or whatever, it feels just a little bit better when you know that you did it on your own versus like somebody helping you or and everything. So that instant gratification ain't nothing but the dopamine telling you, oh man, this is good, but like it wears off.
Yeah.
And everything. So like, but with the thing when it comes like to money or whatever, you earn to take the time sometimes just to enjoy yourself, like go take a trip like you did, or
Yeah.
or hey, I just need to get away for the weekend, so I'm gonna have like a staycation instead of staying in the house. I'm just gonna go to the hotel or whatever, or even to like to the point of like hey, it's just a movie or whatever. Those type of things, or like, hey, if you're dieting or whatever, it's as long as you're doing 90% or 85% of what you're supposed to be doing, it's okay to that 15% you have like your little cheat meal or a I want to do this or whatever, because ultimately the habit is like you're doing more of what you're supposed to do versus what you're not supposed to do. Right. And that's the ultimate goal. The same thing when it comes to money, um, diet and exercise, um, having good days versus bad days or whatever, and like it's just, I think that's just the way it is. So like if and then with kids, they got to understand like, hey, sometimes it's just work better to just be patient, and that's what the instant the ideal lesson of them not trying to get instant gratification out of everything is just the value of patience, because like when they get older and things don't work out, they understand, okay, maybe I just need to be a little bit patient, work a little bit harder, and then I can reach my goal. So I think that's from two standpoints, from the grown-ups and then for the kids. Yeah, so
Have you ever thought about doing any of the money challenges that we see, like on TikTok or anywhere, with the kids, or even for yourself? Like, there's one. I got a group of people that they're waiting. They're stoked for it. It's to raise $10,000 in a year, and you go like for the first 5 months you do $100 a month, and then the next month you double that.
Yeah.
You have to after those so many months, and then you keep going and you triple it up every time until you get, and then once you calculate it out, it comes to 10,000.
I think any type of challenge where it pushes you to do something that you're not familiar with, I think it's worth it. For myself, I like for budget wise, I'm like out like 4 or 5 years right now. I'm counting money that I'm not expecting to come in right now as part of a budget or financial plan forecast, and say I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that, I'm gonna be able to invest this or invest that. So like I have a spreadsheet, and I got a 2023, 24, 24, 25, based off of my wife's retirement, what we expect, and if it sways left or right, at least I've set a goal and I can meet that. So I would say that's my challenge of like being able to meet that or whatever. So for people that's doing that, I think it's always worth it, because once you do it and you see the results, then you actually know that you can do it again. And like maybe when you did the $10,000, you're like, man, that was like way too low. So like now I'm able to do it where I can get like a much bigger target and make it and actually work to actually hit that target. So
Right.
I think those things are like very one motivational. They teach you a lot about yourself that you can correct along the way, and showing where your strengths and weaknesses are and the things that you need to change. And then number three is it gives you a whole lot of patience, but it also is kind of excited. It makes you excited to like actually see you actually doing what you set out to do. Yeah. So
Yeah. I think I like that idea of the forecast because I always ask people, like, especially when they come, I said, so what's your plan?
mhm,
And a lot of people don't plan. And I tell them, don't plan to fail. You got to write it out. You
yeah,
got to have a plan. So I think that that's something that should be a challenge
yeah,
to challenge people to learn how to do a forecast, especially for 5 years.
mhm,
Because why not?
yeah,
I think it's a great thing.
exactly. So you kind of you can break it down in several ways. So like with the planning, and you can say, hey, this is my 5 year goal.
Hmm.
So with my 5 year goal, um, and then you break it down. It's like, hey, what do I need to do every year to meet this 5 year goal?
Hmm.
Then based off of every year, what do I need to do every month to meet this yearly goal?
Hmm.
And then for every month, what do I need to do every week to hit this monthly goal?
Hmm.
And then for every month, what do I need to do? I mean, what do I need to do every week? And then from there, every day.
Hmm.
And that way you done already built your plan from what you need to do every day to every week to every month
Hmm.
to to every to every year up until that 5 year mark.
Hmm.
So that's the quickest way I will believe that you can actually build out that plan, and you just break it down in sections or whatever. So I
Hmm.
have a vision board in the bedroom. I'll show you before you leave, but
Hmm.
it's like a 5 year. There's so much stuff that goes on within 1 year that you're like, it discourages people once they don't meet everything. So they're doing the same thing over and over again, spread it out in a distance of time, and just start knocking off targets.
Hmm.
And then that way you don't overwhelm yourself,
Hmm.
and then you start seeing progress because like, hey, I knocked off this, so um, now I can go to this or whatever. One goal that you may think it may take a year, it may take 2 years for you to do it.
Hmm.
So that way you don't get discouraged. And then when it comes down to like putting your goals down, you don't have to like say, okay, no, I failed at that, so I'm not going to put that on there again.
Hmm.
So you give yourself time and give yourself grace based off your lessons learned. I'm not going to say failures. I would say
Yeah,
lessons
it's
learned
lesson learned.
to move forward. So
Hmm.
like on the thing you'll see it said 2021 to 2025
Hmm.
or whatever. So like half of them on there I haven't even met yet, but I know at some point in time I'm going to hit them
Yeah.
and everything. And I think everybody should be able to do that. I know I'm my biggest self critic, you're yours, but like understanding like in being with your own biggest critic, you have to give yourself grace and give yourself lenience because like you just don't know what you don't know.
Hmm.
And the other thing is, and if you're actually doing it and then you meet somebody and you have that conversation, we kind of talked about networks earlier
Yeah.
and everything, they may just be that person that gives you that little piece
Hmm.
where you was like at 85 and you need another 15%. They give you that next 15% that actually put you over the hump.
Hmm.
So kind of think about that in the aspects of planning, any type of planning, financial planning, family planning, or whatever. So that way you can actually see it, and writing down is like a reinforcement of like, hey, what you need to do, and something that you need to see like exactly every day.
Yeah.
So it
Hmm.
kind of just reminds you, even though you didn't touch on anything that day, you know, a sooner or later I have to do it because it's right there, unless you just tear it down or whatever.
Right.
But like it's holding you accountable and
Exactly.
everything. So
Hmm.
uh,
I get that. I
mhm.
get that. Everybody, I wish I could sit out here and we could talk all night long. It is now 8:32 our time in Hawaii. And I know some of y'all are up. Um, and I'm glad that you're here. So but we gotta go. We gotta go. I'm sorry. But like I always tell you on the Knowledge Power Hour, you don't want to walk away with knowledge to die. You want it to live. So don't Don't get hold of knowledge and don't use it. You got to, in order for it to be power, you have to use it. It's the only way. But before I send y'all on your way, or if there's any other thing you want to tell everybody.
I would just say just keep going and doing what you need to do. Be the example that you didn't have, um, and everything else will work out. That's all I have. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great enough. So understand that, and like I always tell you, even with, at this table, respect will always be served. And I'm gonna bid y'all good night. We'll be back on our regular time because I'll be home by then. So, um, but I just wanted to make sure I did a live while I was here, and I know y'all are asleep, but that's good because then when those who wake up, you can hit replay and you can say you saw this. Okay, this was just talking with or my brother, and it was a delightful evening. So y'all, like I said, come back next week Wednesday. I have some other deets that's coming out, so I'll see y'all then. All right, see y'all later.